like to call to order the Monday, March 17, 2025 City Council regular meeting order at 7 p.m. If you all rise for a pledge of allegiance.
States of America, to the republic, and one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call, all counselors are present, besides Marissa Jacobs. Counselor Jacobs is excused absence. A chance to look at tonight's agenda. For a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
President Miller makes a motion to approve. Any seconds? Counselor Santiago with a second. Any discussion? All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have any public comment for tonight? Okay. This is where we set aside public comments for our public. Seeing none online or in person, we will close public comment. We're now on to our consent agenda. Tonight, we're looking at March 3rd, 2025 City Council work session minutes and March 3rd, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Motion to accept tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Counselor Haugen approves. Motion to approve. Seconds. Second by Counselor Friends. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion. Okay. Okay. You might have her video. She'll be quiet.
She's not on?
That's invited.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry about
She'll
that.
put her hand up if she can get in, she might. Okay, we're on to number 2, mayor contest. This is my third one. If I were a mayor contest, the state Oregon Mayors Association puts on a contest every year for kids in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in high school. 4 through 6 have to do an essay or a poster. 5, 6, 7, and 8 do an essay, and high schoolers do a video. This year we have 2 that we were looking at, and you guys have seen one was a digital presentation by Conrad Hedges. Seen that one. The other was an essay presented, and you guys saw that one. Any discussion or talk about that before we award those? Haley had presented a letter. We've seen those. So what we're going to do, we are going to award both of them with the award. It's a gift certificate at Fred Meyer's, and it'll be a lunch with me and my wife if she can make it. And then we will submit both of these to the state level, and they can win Beggars gift certificates. One of our citizens won a $300 second prize last year. And so we will submit both of those to the state level. Okay, and I will be in touch with them and let them know.
Where are you going to lunch?
Wherever they can. It's really on them.
The senior center?
Yeah, senior center Wednesday, Friday. Tried pizza, they're closed. We've tried a lot of places. It's tough to get all these kids that can have very specific food choices.
Just want to say
I could
congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations. It's a great, they did a really good job, and you should see your essay in your packet if you guys want to read it. Okay, we're on a new business update from Columbia County Department of Emergency Management. Corey Padron, director, is here tonight. We don't have the great show on the internet like you guys had, but yeah, if you wanted to speak in there so everybody online and it could.
All right, is that all right?
Yes.
Mayor, councilors, and president, happy to be here. Happy for you to have me here. Pleased to make this update, though I've been here for 18 months. This is my first time in your chambers, so it's much overdue. Apologize for not getting here until now. Some of you I've seen around the county, so I'm very happy to be here. I received a number of your questions ahead of time, so we can address those right after I get the basic update that I have. Really good questions, and I appreciate those a lot. They brought up a lot of really good points. So I will enjoy addressing those. So in the county, so I've been there for 18 months now, and we currently have an open position for a coordinator that we're looking for. Our last one, he was working really hard, doing great, and he had to resign for some family medical issues. So he'll be welcome back in the future. Hopefully I can come up with some funding to bring him on in another capacity. Um, in the meantime, it's just me there with the help of my other partners, and public health that I work with a lot as well. Behind me, I have Jessica Kosidar with public health, and she's in charge of the Medical Reserve Corps, which is one of the Citizen Corps programs, as well as Jolene Day, and she's in charge of the CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team, which was a couple of the questions that were submitted to me. So I have them here just in case there's additional comments. They're my backup crew. So I wanted to first thank you for being a part of the Homeland Security Emergency Management Commission. It's the group that provides the kind of guidance and priorities suggestions to the Board of County Commissioners. That is what they really rely on, that input, as well as my own input and other subject matter experts on what we are going to prioritize. That all gets kind of put together into the Integrated Preparedness Plan, which is a very comprehensive document. That document, the goal is to outline those priorities and what it's going to take to have a very comprehensive emergency management plan. So working now to update that intergovernmental agreement, which looks like it has not been updated in quite a while. So going through our 4th revision now on that. So it'll come back around again until it's ready for signature. So I am excited that we will have no anticipations of fee increases on that, just FYI, through 2028 at least. I really want to get my feet underneath me and really get the ball rolling and get a good, solid, integrated preparedness plan before we even start talking that direction. I got some time here to put in and prove myself to the whole county, and then we can start looking at other features like that. So I've been doing a lot of work lately with the Regional Disaster Preparedness Organization, the RDPO. They are the regional organization that looks at kind of the big picture and helps coordinate all of the emergency managers in this area. They work with the UASI funding, which is the Urban Area Security Initiative. Try not to throw too many of these acronyms out there, and if any slip through, feel free to slow me down or stop me. So these were federal dollars that are passed through for locations that they tend to be border locations or port locations that have a higher threat level for terrorist attacks. So the RDPO is chosen to handle these funds and distribute them. So we come up with projects, a lot of them based on supporting the volunteer groups we have, like the CERT and Medical Reserve Corps. We have the ham radio groups like the ARES. Those are very important in the county, and we're not expanding those even more. So we do have a couple outstanding grants that are waiting to come in through the UASI funding, which will do more to strengthen some regional deployment capabilities with the CERT teams, where they can go out and they can assist the first responders when they're hitting big events to help set up, warming tents and shelters and things to provide the responders somewhere to get out of the weather. They go to community events and do other activities. And so we're kind of getting them a trailer that'll have all their equipment in it. So it's just kind of one hookup and go. Medical Reserve Corps, additional supplies, first aid CPR training supplies, and everything that's needed to support any kind of medical surge. So those are all in the works with that. On our planning, was requested and I sent out, hopefully you got it, our latest updated emergency operation plan, base plan. The emergency operation plan is made up of many parts and many appendices and annexes that cover hopefully everything we can think of that could possibly go wrong and who might respond to it. So it's an ongoing living document that's continuously being improved upon and added to. So when I came on board, this emergency operation plan base plan was just about complete. My prior had been working on it a lot, did a lot of getting into it. So I just had to take it through the goalposts and get it out there. Now what we're working on is the comprehensive emergency management plan, which is made up of well over 100 different planning documents that look into mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. And each of those sections is broken down into smaller, simpler documents that address a specific thing. That includes like the continuity of operations plans. So that will hopefully have a draft of the extent of the expansion of what the integrated preparedness plan looks at as a integrating all that CEMP, comprehensive emergency management plan deliverables that'll be reflected in that IPP preparedness plan. So a lot of big documents, a lot of terrible acronyms. It gets confusing fast, and I am happy to come meet with any of you individually. Send me an email, give me a ring, and I will come and we can sit down and chat about plans as long as you would like. One thing I did want to mention is that I'm working on, got some funding, some access to some funding on the continuity of operations plans. Because that plan can be kind of a complex one, you've got some private sector subject matter experts that focus on COOP plans. And the state would like to see us all have our COOP plans updated by the end of the year. So it's kind of a big order, especially if maybe we haven't touched it in a while. So if I can manage to get this funding done, this organization will put on a training, and we'll do a training in each community. We'll spend half a day and kind of go down the COOP and what goes into the COOP. Then there will be some time set aside for each community to access them one-on-one, help with the development. Be working with me as well on how I can best work with all of you going past that point on finishing up your COOPs and getting them where you want them to be. So again, I'll be talking to you all, the other communities, more in the future on the continuity of operation plans, what those look like. If you've done them in the past, and if my predecessors worked with you on them, and maybe VOC, OLD are the two programs that were used in the past, then I can dig out your past files and see how much of a head start you may already have on them. So I expect that working on COOP plans with you will get me over here quite a bit. Not my favorite plan, but got to get it done, because that when the stuff really starts going sideways, that's what's going to keep everything moving. It's going to keep all your departments open, trying to think of how do we do this now that this resource went down. We'll think about that ahead of time and make sure that you already know what you're going to do. Also working on with the state, they awarded a subgrantee to start working on the natural hazard mitigation plan and the community wildfire protection plan. That last one is a big one that I'm hearing the fire chiefs all talk about in the fire defense board, which I try to go to every one of their meetings. So we are at the very beginning stages of that community wildfire protection plan development. Fire season coming up again. We can't work on that one quick enough. So I'll be working on gathering up some preliminary information so we can have a head start on that. You know, there's concerns on if we have to do any kind of evacuations, which of course are done through the mayor and local police. That's where the authority for evacuations happen. Mandatory evacuations. We can always recommend that people go visit some loved ones in another area. Oftentimes, though, we could end up being the ones like happened in the past where everybody from Willamette Valley decides they want to come this direction and seek refuge. And so we have to prepare for that as well. So a lot of that's going to be about being able to control our roads and where people are going to end up. With that, we've kind of designated the fairgrounds, the county, as our primary area for mass sheltering. So it sounds like it went pretty good the last time when people were fleeing the smoke. And so we're trying to work on those relationships and what's needed to expand on that. So that'll be ready in the future. With the EOP base plan, there was a mass care and sheltering plan that was also recently revised. And so we'll be working on the expansion and all the fine details with that as well. Also working on the county communication plan. So this is how to get a hold of everybody and how to do emergency alert and messaging. I don't know if any of you experienced the inundation of alerts with our last weather event. I was getting 4 or 5 alerts at one time, and it wasn't just us, it was the other counties as well. Just the way that National Weather Service was kind of working with their notifications that were sent to us through Everbridge. So we're working with them to figure out why that was happening and how to eliminate those redundancies, working with Columbia 911 as well on that. So pretty soon here we'll be sharing the duties on Everbridge, and we'll be getting the ability to issue our own IPAWS, which is the presidential alert system, so that instead of just sending messages to people who are registered as living here with phones, we'll be able to get anybody who's passing through as well. And I think that's really important because we get a lot of transient traffic. We want to make sure that we're able to alert them as well. With that, I've had a meeting with Spring Lake, so they're very enthusiastic about preparedness. So I'm looking forward to more engagements with them. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Corey, yeah, thanks for being here this evening. I'm wondering what kind of coordination you're doing with the counties across the river, Clark and Cowlitz.
Yeah, so I've had one meeting with both sides, the 2 counties across the river from us. They're very enthusiastic about working with us, and we're developing a exercise with our ham radio operators so that we can make sure and stay in communication with them during events. All of our neighboring emergency managers have been super great about working with me and educating me on. So I grew up in Clackamas, in case you all didn't know, and I've been gone to Alaska for the last 12 years. And I've been doing emergency management up there with the largest tribe in Alaska. Down here, I'll admit it's a lot different doing it for a county. I did it for 58,000 tribal citizens, and now we got 58,000 approximately citizens down here. So I think those resources of working with our neighbors, super important. We need to train with them. We need to communicate with them regularly, and so that's the intention, is to do that as much as we can.
And you know, kind of a few years back when the I-5 closed, and then they shunted the traffic through on 30, everything came to a screeching halt. So I mean, it's of consequence for close coordination with those adjoining counties.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's important to talk to DOT and Washington Transportation as well about, you know, you can't just like turn everybody to come right through Highway 30 and think that that's going to go well.
Right.
This is a dangerous highway as it sits right now. We hear way too many sirens going down this highway. And if we do that again, those numbers, I mean, how are we going to deal with the accidents then? Our responders are going to have a hard time getting where they need to, because they already are having that debate. So I will continue to work with them, and we'll see if we can't get a little more public about what's happening and what those plans are on transportation. So the Regional Disaster Preparedness Organization is working on a regional plan for emergency emergency routes and evacuation routes. If we do have to do those diversions, then what roads are we going to use? Pretty limited here. So there's some pretty long drive arounds. But, you know, we've got to do what we got to do when things go bad. Thank you for that.
You know, I noticed, I don't have your questions off the top of my head right now, but you know, one of our goals is create and publicize emergency preparedness plan. I think in my mind, I want to know how our plan is going to relate with your plan, how they'll relate together. Is your plan going to cover a lot of stuff that we can just pull from it into our plan, or, you know, or is your plan more countywide versus if we have a water issue and it just affects us, you know, a major water outage obviously if a train derails here and close in town, it's probably a county-wide issue and your plan can probably take that. But I'm trying to learn how that's going to work. We are going to be putting together, I mean, Ben is, Dave, Chris, Ben are going to develop our own city preparedness plan. And I'd like to know how it's going to relate and can we work with you? And
Very, very good. Thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to be at every one of those meetings. Your plan, every community's plan will be noted and referred to in the comprehensive emergency management plan for the county. That's critical. You all are the county. You make up the county. There's residents in between the municipalities. That's what I have to think about is them, but I also have to think about you. If you have a water outage, I have a water outage. You need drinking water, I'll get you drinking water. Columbia City just had a water outage last week. We started making phone calls. I started talking to the city administrator. We got 2 pallets of water, three pallets of water were sent down by the state. And they used up one because the outage went a little longer than they anticipated. State went ahead and left 2 more pallets down here, so they're at the EOC and they're ready to be sent out to anybody else that needs them. Also, in answering one of your questions in here, I mentioned that Vernonia and Clatskanie both got water purification systems. And I think that came from back in the day with Steve Pegram, maybe, that he had 2 predecessors ago, and they had came military surplus. Pretty big units, the filters on them are very expensive, but they will do a pretty good job about purifying a good quantity of water for distribution. So I think a combination of things like that, of having portable water purification systems as well as readily available bottled water in the event of an emergency, and then whatever the reason is that the water system went down, I will then work with you however I can on getting it back up again. In Alaska, we had a community out of water, and they are islanded out in the middle of nowhere. So I got in contact, and we had the Coast Guard turn around a buoy tender and went to a local community where the local fire department went and picked up 4 pallets of water, and the Coast Guard took them to the community for us. So I will call anybody.
what island was that?
That was on Admiralty Island, the community of Angoon. That was my first posting when I was up there. So keep a close eye on them.
I point that out there.
Sorry, I have a question. The COOP plan that the COOP that you mentioned earlier, does that fit the scope of what Mayor Backus just described, or is that a little different?
So there's two things to talk about on that. The first thing that he was talking about sounded like was the emergency operation plan for the city. Okay, and then depending on how you're looking at it, looking at the sole emergency operation plan on its own is a piece of a comprehensive emergency management plan. When you look at the whole big picture, that's where you integrate the COOP into it. Otherwise, the COOP is kind of a footnote and appendices to the emergency operation plan.
Okay.
So it's starting with the EOP is a great place to start, but I'm happy to work with you currently on the COOPs as well.
What
I
I
bring some documents on kind of the basics of what makes up a COOP. Happy to leave that for you.
Okay.
And then we can have future discussions on it, on how we can move forward on it.
I just didn't know if the EOP plan was something that the county generates and manages, maintains, and then the COOP plans are basically addendums for each city. I was just trying to understand how the
Sure.
COOP plans fit into.
So
There's a lot of different references here, so just trying to understand.
yeah, I know, absolutely. Not all municipalities have EOPs, emergency operation plans. So you, and I encourage you to create one, and I'm happy to help you in creating one. That's why we work together in HSIM, in the Homeland Security Emergency Management Commission, so that I can be there for you, help you do that. The more detail you put into your plans, the more prepared you are. Okay? The more we can integrate it into ours. So we have a large scale countywide emergency operation plan that probably doesn't go into the specifics in detail as much that you want for your community. So that's where we do a community in my community emergency comprehensive emergency management plan. There'll be a city annex. So there'll be a part that references any of your plans. And so then we find the links where we need to tie those together and see if there's any gaps between your plan and our plan.
I imagine there's a lot of overlap too, certain areas.
So if there's overlaps, you don't have to repeat things in your plan that are in mine. You can just reference them. As in this particular portion, we will do as laid out in the county's comprehensive emergency management.
If I may, so how do you balance, how is the county going to balance priorities? And because, obviously this council and this city is going to be more concerned and prioritize our own citizens, our own community members. That's where you have a responsibility throughout the entire county, including unincorporated areas. So I would think that it would be very prudent that each city makes their own plan and accounts for that the county has a lot bigger area and a lot more responsibilities. So we should seize the opportunity to make sure that our plan is what we expect for our community.
I would agree with that 100%, sir.
Okay.
So my question is your agency or department in charge of once the plan is developed? Is it your responsibility? Do you guys do the outreach, the information sharing with the community? Is it fall on each city, county, district? How is that? How is once the plans are done? How is that going to be communicated to the community?
Very good question. So as it's being developed, you should be receiving the notifications of each section that's updated. So
Us or
yeah,
the
I
community?
will present it to you. I will come to you. You will get thumb drives or you will get electronic versions sent to you depending on the size that we're at currently on it. Right now, I can email the EOP base plan. By the time the comprehensive emergency management plan is done, it'll be a thumb drive. And I will bring it to you and we can have a work session on it where we step through all of it or part of it. We can do many work sessions, but it'll be my job to help each municipality understand the county plan and the schedule of how it'll be maintained and updated. That falls on me. That's my responsibility, is to update and maintain the county emergency management plan, but also to make sure that everybody knows that it exists, that it's there, and to set up the trainings and exercises that'll help our community and our responders be able to utilize it. So it's not just a plan on a shelf.
You don't want the emergency to happen and call up and say, we need to now declare an emergency and here's what you need to do. Or hopefully I'll be training it ahead of time.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of things you may decide that you can handle on your own and that you don't need county emergency management involved. But anything that does happen, just know that I'm there for you. I answer my phone 24/7. If something's going on and things are heightening, I'll get out of bed and I'll go to the EOC just to start pulling information. So the county EOC, the best thing that it can do is gather and disseminate information and take the requests for resources and go find stuff that you need to handle whatever disaster you're dealing with.
I have a question on, sorry.
So kind of following on the point that Councilor Miller made earlier, this is a very large county. Is there a plan to bring CERT programs to each individual city? I was a net member in Portland, which is the equivalent, CERT equivalent, and we had net groups. Yeah, hi, Jolene. We had our net groups in every neighborhood, right? It was very localized. Everyone knew each other, knew how to work together, knew the plans, knew kind of where the triage, muster sites, all that would be around the community. And then they would go to the farmer's market and communicate that and make sure that the community members were aware of those things, had 3-4 days of, supplies ready themselves. And so I did get the chance to attend some of the CERT meetings, but we only have one CERT for the whole county. And I don't think any of those members actually live in Scappoose. That I recalled. Yeah, and so you've got 658 square miles in this county. So is there a focus on kind of localizing CERT activity?
So,
So you can activate it at the city level?
yeah, so Mayor, the CERT teams, the dream would be to have one in every neighborhood. That was the original design, right? So teach you how to take care of yourself and your family so that you could then meet up with the CERT team and start taking care of your neighborhood and checking up on people. That is the dream, absolutely. Citizen Corps programs, we've seen a kind of a big downturn on them. They've started to really dilute, but CERT and Medical Reserve Corps is really hanging on. And I want to encourage that. We have two teams, right? We have two teams that act pretty close as one. They're all involved in everything that each other does. So Clatskanie and the St. Helens area CERT. I want to see one in each of the municipalities at the very least. And I can see that happening pretty easy. So what we need to do is get more engagement with the CERT teams, get some CERT trainings going on. They're 30 to 40-hour courses. And we do have instructors. So we can work on scheduling a CERT training in your area and try to encourage people to go out and get the training. They don't have to join a team. They can take the training just to learn those skills, that knowledge, to take care of themselves and their family. But if they want to join a team, we know that volunteers get taxed pretty hard on, joining the fire department or joining, wherever. But there may be some people that are still out there that want to do something like join a CERT team. Then it's up to us to keep them busy doing things that keeps them engaged, like participating in community events. If you have your own CERT team here in Scappoose, then you can take advantage of them when you have community events to get them out there and visible. It's a good time to recruit.
I feel like we did have one. Have you seen? Yes. Yeah. You know what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend. I mean, having participated in it, I think it brings a lot of value and really helps ensure your community is resilient.
We want to
agree.
have one. How do you start? Is it up to us? Is it up to the city manager saying we
Yeah, how
want
do you
one?
do
Is
one?
it up to you? Is it part of our
Portland.
emergency plan that it's part of it?
Portland, they use the fire department to do all of the training, so it was in coordination with the fire department, but I'm not sure if that's the only model or if it can be through the police department or.
So there needs to be a sponsor. So you need to determine who's going to be the sponsoring agency. It could be the county with a CERT team based out here. It can be the police department, the fire department. It can be the city itself.
I think the previous one was under the police department. That doesn't mean that the new one needs to be, but maybe this is something that we explore when we sit down and actually start thinking about our local plan.
And if you have a CERT team, then I can get the resources to help get them the equipment they need. Every year we have, currently we have grants that come around every year that are pretty easy to get supplies for the CERT teams, pay for trainings for the CERT members. So I would love to see more of that. I would love to be coming out here and seeing some CERT trainings.
It's nice.
One of you just kind of brought too is, are we seeing any issues with the Fed money? I mean, grants, is things on hold right now or
So
certainty?
yeah, so is all I've heard so far is that the 25 25 UASC grants on hold, but not because of any particular thing. I think it's just out of an abundance of caution. Grants already before that are still moving forward. There's so much speculation about what will happen, but none of it's good information that I can really hang my hat on.
Change tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
So my question, so I guess that would answer my question as far as outreach and education and to the community. These certs groups would be doing that for our community. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
For the recording.
So, in public health, our emergency essential functions, they call them, is we do mass care sheltering, and then we also do medical countermeasures. And with mass care shelter, that's your heating, your cooling. The action team does a lot of that work out here. We're small, so we rely on partners. But outreach, I'm a big believer of word of mouth, getting out in our public. So not just, no offense, training you guys, but getting actually out into the parks, meeting kids, talking to people. So we do a lot of that work in public health. And one of that was the Granges said, fire, we're worried. What can we do for prevention? So we've made a partnership with ODF to do a speech with them at their next meeting, quarterly meeting in May, to go over defensible space, green space. And we're taking that opportunity to bring in the fire department for some education and also our youth. Because talking to our Grange about cleaning our gutters, clearing brush might not be the most applicable public. So we're going to try to bring in youth for education and then also volunteer groups to help do those tasks.
So it's a year out, but our all-town eating, it might be a good opportunity to look at it for next year. It's a year to prepare and
We've always had a problem in this county with keeping volunteer groups interested and fully staffed. And the main reason, having grown up in this county and been involved in those volunteer groups, is the lack of usage and training in different events, because people kind of see it. They forget they're even part of it because they don't do quarterly, semi-annually or anything events. So that's what I've seen, what I have observed as being the biggest hurdle with these volunteer groups. People want to be involved, but if you don't engage them continuously and use them and train them, they don't see the point. They lose interest.
I'll defend our county a little bit and saying Medical Reserve Corps. So Medical Reserve Corps is a lot like your, all right, I feel like I could speak loud enough, but our Medical Reserve Corps is a lot like CERT, people trained in response, but they're with the medical background. So people apply through the state and go into our Medical Reserve Corps. And just last year, Seattle to Portland they asked for a first aid station. Washington County, much larger than us, 300 volunteers to our 30, and they had 3 that showed up. So I can say at least it's not just our county, it's nationwide.
and in the Homeland Security group, I mean, that you guys are going to those meetings. Dave's online too. So you're working with them. Is that monthly, quarterly? You guys are meeting. You'll keep us apprised of. Were there any questions you guys had sent that you want answered? You could think of.
I'm welcome to either go down some of them, or I could actually email my responses back on these. The major one that we haven't kind of touched on is just reiterating what can the public do to prepare. And other than talking about the CERT teams, I think that CERT training kind of like lays out the basics of it. So understand your hazards, what the local hazards are, and the proper way to respond to them. Okay? And then with that, get yourself prepared, okay? Get your family prepared, and then start reaching out and seeing how you can help get your neighborhood prepared. So have a kit, so be ready to be independent in your home for 2 weeks or more. We saw through the COVID days that we could find ourselves at home for a while without being able to go out. We need to be prepared to do that again. So I say 2 weeks at home. In your car, you should have what it takes to survive for 3 days living out of your car. then generally on your person what it takes to survive for 24 hours. So there's a lot of variation in how you can achieve that, and I'm always happy to talk to any group about that. But I think if you look at those basic things there and just do a little preparedness activity at home, there are fun things you can do with your kids about, hey, let's build a kit and really have some fun about it. Or things, so we have Map Your Neighborhood was a great activity. And so that's a simple flip book that you do at home. These are great things to do over like lunch and learns and stuff. And it's where you go through and you kind of map out your neighborhood and who lives where and who has what skills. And then you put phone numbers down of like, who do we know out of town that if we're separated, we all know we will call? Where is our local meeting spot if we get separated? Where will we go that's not home that we'll meet at? So things like this are really great resources for the public to get involved in. Then there's a brand new thing that's out. It's the Be 2 Weeks Ready program. And it is a lot more comprehensive than this. It's like a year of activities that you work on your own and do journaling. It kind of walks you through a year of preparedness. So they're all big programs. I am happy to work in Scappoose on any of these programs with anyone and work with developing up a CERT team.
Corey, would you email these best practices to Ben so he can distribute them?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I brought that up in my responses. I will get these responses emailed out to all of you.
You have an extra copy of that?
Of this? You have an extra one?
Okay.
I will get you all copies.
And we do have events. I
Thank
don't know
you.
if you do ever put up, a canopy or, we have our all-town meeting here in a couple weeks. There's Earth Day coming up. There's events that, we have every agency, every nonprofit. If there's ever a time that you guys come and have flyers or just information for our citizens too, we can even do it. If you send them with us, we'll sit out there.
I would love to. I will make sure I'll leave my business cards. I'll leave these information on the continuity, just kind of some basic things on continuity, just as kind of a reminder. And then, if you let me know and I'll look on your calendar what community events are coming up, we'll see what we can participate in. Maybe we can get a little spot, put a little pop-up with just some basic information. Maybe we can build up a little steam here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Corey.
April 26th.
April 26th.
That's Earth
Okay.
Day. Hey, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Anytime you want.
Okay, moving on, resolution number 2502, a resolution authorizing an application for local government grant program. Administrator Charlotte Baker is taking lead on this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here with a resolution for council approval to apply for the local government grant program for the Grabhorn Park improvements. I'm sure you're all familiar with them at this point. It was the plan that was approved back when we approved, or when you all approved the Parks Master Plan. With an additional element, which is the disc golf course that was proposed by the Scappoose Parks and Rec Committee. So the grant program, or the grant application is due April 1, and this adopted resolution is part of the application process.
So, looks good. I mean, is the maximum $1 million? Is that what they have in their grant applications? Or, so we've got enough to match. Is it a 40% match? Is
So we're using the value of the land as our match.
50,000
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah, we're over. I think you have to have, I don't know, 60 or 65% match. We're over whatever the matching requirement is. Yeah.
that is a lot more than I had looked. I mean, that's great. And they will award a portion of it or all, I mean, asking for $1 million and they say, no, that's too much, you get zero. I mean, it's typically though, they could offer 500,000, 400. Doesn't always have to be all or nothing.
I'm not sure. Do you know? I thought it was all or nothing, but I might be wrong.
I have seen situations they've reached back out and seen if a city would be willing to take a partial if they're running out of their funds. That's really a call on their side of how they're going to go about it. So yeah, I think they typically try to award the full grant that you're asking because it's usually associated with the project needs. But like I said, I have seen them reach out for a lower request.
Yes, Councilor.
Well, I think we've been waiting for this for a while. And, and if you guys don't have any questions, I want to make the motion.
I
You
do,
do?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
this, just to be clear, this is the grant that was like time bound. I think we had to
Yeah.
apply for it within 3 years.
In order to use the value of the property as the matching funds, you have to have purchased it within the last, I think it's 6 years. Well, maybe it's 5. I don't,
This was
it's 5.
definitely the last cycle.
Correct. This year is yes, that's correct. So it must be 5 years because I think it was purchased in 2020.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is a state program, so it's not a federal program we're going to worry about. And
I think it's funded through state lottery funds.
Yeah, I
do
think
we
that's
know roughly when they award? Is it a couple months after? I think we got this with the Veterans Park when we applied. I remember going down and doing a speech for Little League supporting it, and it was a good. I think they got $400,000 or $500,000 towards that, and it took a couple months.
I don't remember what the time there. I've applied for several different grants recently, so I'm having a hard time keeping the timeline straight. It's definitely a number of months, I would imagine.
Right, I believe when they announced awards last year, when I was at Stanfield, it was right before I started coming down here. So it was like midsummer. They announced, and I think funding's in something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier, but it's
Yeah.
I've got the large grant application due by the end of this month, and the small grant month after in May. By May 1st, and then they go out in May or June to and I think they award by the end of either fiscal year or in July. Exactly.
Right? Or you guys are ready to application complete. If you're ready. Anybody?
You ready? Okay. There. I moved City Council approve Resolution 25-02 and authorize city manager to submit an application for the local government grant program for the purpose of developing the Grabhorn property.
Have a motion by Councilor Santiago to approve Resolution 2502 and authorize city manager to submit an application for the local government grant program for the purpose of developing Grabhorn property. Any seconds? Second by Councilor Haugen. Any more discussion? All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Quick, but that's good.
Thank you.
Good ones are quick.
Thank you.
Easy. You're on to our calendar.
That's the liaison.
Oh, I skipped one. You caught me. Okay, liaisons. We have these council liaisons, and last year, Columbia County, Tyler Miller, he's been going to the county meetings. I think he's okay with that. That was working well, and he reports back information. I'm a board member of the CET. I continue to do that. Economic Development Committee has been Councilor Santiago, and she'd like to keep doing that. Historical Society Watts House, that's been me, unless there's somebody that is dying to be part of the Historical Society, I'll continue to do that. Schools, Councilor Ty Bailey was schools, so we're looking at a liaison for schools. A counselor of Friends had offered his help there. Unless somebody else really wants it, I can discuss what it takes, what time it takes for that. The senior center, in the past, city manager has been part of that, and Ben's been going to those meetings. Unless somebody wants to be a liaison and part of that, we can continue to have Ben be part of that. Traffic safety has been Councilor LaFrenz. He can continue to do that. And the 50-year vision process, we're getting really close to the end, and that's Councilor Holmes and Santiago. So just keep them on there unless they're not able to. The 911 communications, at this time, I think we're going to pull that as a liaison. We have Counselor Miller and Chief Llewellyn and City Manager Bergener going to go into those, so I don't think we'll need a liaison for that at this time. The one is Parks Committee. Marissa has, with her other responsibilities right now, is asked to not be a liaison. And so, and I know there's been a lot of discussion about the Parks Committee, trying to figure out a way to best utilize that resource. And so may not assign a liaison until we know exactly the route we're going. But I do, with Kim Holmes, Counselor Holmes has been part of the Parks Committee before, and I'd like to see her maybe help me as we talk about the Parks Committee and their role. And right now we're on a as needed basis, and I think there will be some needed time. So I would like her to work with me and Mike Sykes on that as we move forward.
Mr. Mayor, I have a
Yes.
question. So previously we had alternates on some of these. Is there any, do we want to have alternates on any of them in case one person can't go? Like, for example, I'm happy to be on Traffic Safety Committee as an alternate if Andrew can't attend or something like that.
I would think as an alternate, it may not be and I could put Councilor LaFrance and Council Miller, and you guys kind of decide, based on meeting who can go. It's just a once in a while fill-in thing because someone's gone. Love to have someone there, so if Councilor LaFrance can't go, he reaches out and lets us know he's not gonna be able to go, and we can have someone else.
Well, that's one that's more of like an informational providing thing too.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, I don't necessarily need to be officially on there. If you
Okay.
can't go or whatever, feel free to let me know and I'll go.
Okay.
By the way, that was moved to every other month.
Yeah, see, some of these are informational, where you just kind of go and listen and report back anything pertinent. Some of them, you're more of a part of the committee, Economic Development Committee. You definitely are part of it. You're kind of working with the agenda building. You're kind of part of it. Columbia Economic Team as well. I'm on the board, and so I'm part of that committee, but then mainly I just report back. Traffic safety, yeah, you're mainly reporting back what's going on there. 50-year visioning process, you're part of it. And give some feedback, but mostly, I think at this stage, you're reporting back. They are in their process. If they have questions for the council, I'll ask you guys.
So Joe, since I've gotten off scot-free, I could be a flex guy. Flex counselor.
Do you have one? I mean, between Historical Society and schools, you want to be a backup to those, or is there one that you have a passion you really want to be part of?
Well, I'm probably, my education background probably fits better with,
We can do that. What I'm seeing there is, you just report back if there's anything that with the schools that pertains to the city, if there's anything interesting. If we ever do get into intergovernmental agreements again, or they've come to us and say, hey, we want to look at this relationship, then that could be part of that. But it's we do have board meetings, I think every second Monday of every month. And
that would be a good fit for me.
report back what's going there. Again, we would like to develop maybe a youth council of some sort and get some people involved. And so between that, we want to learn how to do it, working with the schools or with our staff and try to determine how to get the kids more engaged.
I would definitely like to see a youth council.
They conflict with this meeting?
Second Monday of the month. Anything else? Any other input? Anything? Think we need a vote on this? Is this a official thing where we need to vote on those liaisons? In the
I
past,
don't
but-
think so. I
It's
think-
usually appointed by the mayor for liaisons. Something wrong with that, Susan. I'm pretty sure it's just,
I will work on it, write it up, and we will email you out appointments.
Did you say in the past we have done a motion? Do you want to do that now? Or
We'll put it in next month's, I'll work on it, get kind of, and then we'll put in next month's consent agenda. Just take any more time. Okay, thank you. Calendar. April 7th, Biggs council work session at 6 PM, followed by a big city council meeting at 7 PM. Make sure you mark your calendars for April 7th. At this moment, we've got EC meeting April 17th, noon, followed by planning commission meeting April 17th at 7 PM. April 21st, council work session at 6 PM, followed by city meeting at 7 PM. Earth Day is on April 26th, spring cleaning event. JJ will be here on April 7th to talk more about it, to give us times and everything. April 5th, there is a Grant Watch Parent Organization auction. That. Town Hall is also April 5th, 9 to noon.
Gonna show up to that?
You may want to come.
9 to noon is what NJ has reported, so be there. Was I'll just put out at the end of March. March 29th at the fairgrounds, the Chamber of Commerce is having their annual banquet. Okay, calendar, seeing nothing else. City manager updates. Ben, anything to report?
Nothing major today to report. Just still working on some of those concerns that were brought up from a citizen request. Still going through the process to research and everything. Haven't found anything major at this time. Some process improvement opportunities or training, but nothing really. Yeah. Anyway, so I'll work on that and update you as soon as we have a final report on that. But other than that, the staff is doing really well. Since I've been here, I've just seen. I don't know. It's been great. Everybody that I've worked with has been really fantastic, and seeing the staff continue to grow and improve and expressing their relationships and their goals and how they obtain those has been phenomenal. So I really felt even the small time I've been here from Chris in the department, some culture changes. The chiefs want to appreciate or thank you for working there. Nothing major at this time.
Great. Chief Llewellyn.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Council President, councilors. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, we started our adjustment for morning shift. So that's been going well. Been doing with that. Our next council meeting, we should have our new sergeant on board, which I'm very proud and very excited about. On the police department too, as well. And reference CERT, I've been attending regularly the Homeland Security Emergency Management Commission, which Corey's a part of too as well. Hopefully be a voting member here and next month or two for that. In reference in CERT under the direction of city manager, how the council wants to go to as well. I know for a fact we still have equipment out there from previous CERTs that's still located back in the containers off our Miller plant that I've checked before too as well. Something I wouldn't mind working with if I'm going to go that route as a city. Let's just get enough people who are volunteer and dedicated to just keep it. Besides that, we really have nothing else.
Just one more follow-up I forgot to mention, since talk about liaison stuff. I did go to the senior center meeting. Had an opportunity to meet with their board chair, and she has confirmed to come next month at the meeting. That's for the second meeting of the month. So
Sorry, but I missed who?
City Center.
City
the senior center.
Senior Center.
Senior
sorry.
center, yeah, their board chair said she could make it out. Judy, I don't remember her last name. Judy,
Or something like that.
yeah. But I've met with her several times.
On April 17th, she'll give a senior center report.
Yeah, yeah. Last time the council had mentioned, like to have them come and update there since we get some money. So she'd be happy to come and.
Especially since it's right before budget, and if they're in the budget, it'd be nice to see what they're doing. And
It is budget season. The director's been going through that. We've had lots of great conversations. I've seen some great things that we can do to simplify the process as well. They're working hard on that, and all your directors are pretty hard at work looking at numbers right now.
thank you for this information also, Chief. Good. So Counselor Haugen,
Nothing of consequence.
Counselor LaFriend,
I'd like to thank Corey, Jessica, and colleagues for coming to give that update on the county emergency operations plan. And I think there's a lot of strong interest from this council to develop our own. I mean, Scappoose is the gateway county, and we border a large metro area, which is more of a reason to develop that. So looking forward to prioritizing that and working with city staff for making that happen.
One thing on that too is because on that side of us, I mean, it's county and then it's Washington County. So we need to also probably be involved a little bit. If there's a train derailment right there and you can't even go that way, so what are the plans and stuff? So we probably need to talk to Washington. Oklahoma County. Thank you. Councilor Holmes?
Yeah, just want to remind everyone that we do have Earth Day coming up on the 26th, is that? And want to give a shout out to JJ. I know she works very hard. I'm going to reach out to her to see if she needs any help or support, and if there's the opportunity for council to participate, I will let you all know.
Councilor Santiago?
EDC meeting is canceled this week, so we're not gonna be able to go to the meeting. I do have some remarks. So today I attended Senator Wyden's federal employee town hall. It was only for federal employees. Though I had, pick number like town hall. My number wasn't called out, but that's okay. But I witnessed firsthand the dedication of federal workers who shared their passion and how their work impacts the community, economy, and safety. DOJ claims to be working efficiency and modernization, yet what I've seen is nothing but. While DOJ employees receive top federal pay, they're dismantling agencies without due process. These aren't just organizations being dissolved, they represent real people with families and livelihoods. I personally been caught in the roller coaster of uncertainty, and today's town hall, I've heard veterans concerned about losing their PSLF benefits while carrying hundreds of thousands of student loans. Others spoke of medical benefits simply vanishing. Some of who's been reinstated wondered what they're returning to, and many questions if they question that even they want to, continue civil service. I share this not from a partisan perspective, but a place of recognizing right and wrong. My position in this council may be nonpartisan, but my conscience isn't. If I remain silent, I'm part of the problem. This is still America, land of the free, but we value freedom of speech. In times like this, we must use our voices when it matters the most. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the county commissioner meetings virtually, and there was nothing of relevance to report for the city or city council. Just a reminder, the Scappoose Elementary Parent Organization's annual spring auction is Saturday, April 5th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Columbia County Fairgrounds. And I believe Megan, their president, the former council president, sent out an email to us all too regarding that they could not be here tonight to discuss this in person also. So just a reminder, Saturday, April 5th, 2025, 4:30 p.m. at the Columbia County Fairgrounds. Also, I did submit my candidacy for the Zone 5 Columbia 901 Communications District position, and I will be seeking endorsements from those who want to give me endorsements as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I did join, first time I went to the Homeland Security meeting last week for a while. That was good to see, and then see Corey in action. And I'm looking forward to us working together on a preparedness plan and how that will work county. Other than that, I don't have anything else new to report. So we will, during that part of the meeting, and now we'll go into executive session 192.660-2-I for employee evaluations. Representative of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. We'll come back into open session and probably have a little bit of a discussion, but we will try to limit this meeting as possible, but I can't set a time on it, but we will open up the door as soon as we're out of executive session. Anybody ever online, Susan?